Today I thought I'd start doing something that I like to do personally for myself, and that I thought other people might find interesting to see, is that as comparing the Rider-Waite, the original kind of, it's not the original, but it's kind of the basis for most modern tarot decks, with other tarot decks that I have, comparing their cards. Today we have the first card of the tarot deck. It's actually 0. Its number is 0, so it's not technically the first, but it's usually seen as the first card in the deck, the Fool. And we're comparing that with, I believe it's either called the Cat People deck or the Cat World deck. I think it's the Cat People deck. So this on the left is the Rider-Waite, and this on the right is the deck of, I think, deck of the Cat People. As before, I know my camera setup isn't that great. Someday maybe I'll be able to afford something better. It'd be nice, but, you know, not right at the moment. So we're going to look at the Rider-Waite Fool real quick. Get him in the middle here. See if we can get him to focus. There we go. So he's kind of this youthful, naive, innocent-looking figure. He's holding a white rose, who's about to walk off a cliff. At least it looks like that. And it looks like either a little dog is trying to warn him or about to walk off the cliff with him. It really depends. He's not looking where he's going. He's just cheerful and naive. There's this interpretation in some tarot that he's about to step essentially into life, that he's kind of the innocent soul about to step into the embodied world. Since he's the 0 card, he's also seen as the beginning of the journey that's taken through the major arcana, and it can be seen as the journey of a person through life, or the journey of a person through achieving kind of spiritual awareness. So you can see the main figures here as is himself. He's on this journey with the it looks like brocade or something similar on his jacket. They might be pomegranates, they might be apples, I'm not sure. I'd have to look at source material. And he has that white rose in one hand, which you'll see that again, the floral motif in the other Rider-Waite cards. He has his bag over his shoulder, and he has a little dog and the cliff. So those are the main motifs in that one. And let's look at the Cat World card. You can see that it's pretty simple. It's a pretty limited card to me. This deck in general I find to be rather limited. Let's see if I can convince it to focus better. In terms of, there we go. In terms of imagery, I don't use it often because while I like cats, I find that this deck doesn't really put enough symbols into each card to really work for me. But you can see he has some of the, pretty much the same motif. He's pretty much the same figure. You have this relatively young looking figure with a walking stick instead of a pack over one shoulder. He's about to walk over a cliff. In this case, he has what looks like the moon behind him. It seems more like a nighttime scene, or it could be day. There's kind of that solar halo around his head. And in this case, the cat is obviously warning him not to walk over the edge. It's actually biting him on the leg. I believe in older tarot decks, I think it's in Marseille, the little dog is clearly attacking or biting the Fool figure. But yeah, I don't really, this deck, I bought it because I like cats, but I don't really feel much attraction to the images. They're just they're kind of flat. And this is a good example of that. There's kind of a lot going on in the Rider-Waite, and there's relatively little going on in the Cat World one. But that's one example of a comparison of the Fool in one deck, a Rider-Waite card in one deck, with the Fool in another deck. And I hope to do tomorrow another one for you, and that would be, I believe, we would start the whole journey through the major arcana with the Magician, if I can get my act together and do it tomorrow. Then I'll use another deck, so you'll get to see what the Rider-Waite looks like in comparison with another of my, I think, 20 decks. I have too many decks, but they're so pretty. Tomorrow or the next day. But again, that's the Rider-Waite Fool, and that's the Cat People or Cat World. I should have checked before doing this, but it's an older deck. It's from the 80s. You can kind of tell by the graphic design deck. I was silly and sold off the Little White Book, the book that came with the Cat World deck, which actually had quite a Cat People, Cat World, which actually had quite a bit of kind of like lore about kind of a science fantasy kind of world with people, different cultures for each suit, and different significance for the cards. Someday maybe I'll buy a copy of it again if I can get it on its own, like used or something. There you go. That's the comparison of two cards. I really like comparing cards like this. I like comparing looking at the Fool across all of my decks. I rotate cards once a day on all my decks so I can compare them if I'm not reading with them. But that's it for today. Thank you for looking at it. Später.